Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. Broaden the scope of exposure for your business by going beyond the interview. Learn more at www.jmmbmediallc.com or email us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. Timing, perseverance, and 10 years of trying will eventually make you look like an overnight success. Biz Stone, co-founder of Twitter. Today, we welcome Lauren Goldstein, who is the founder and CEO of the award-winning and globally recognized business consulting firm, Golden Key Partnership. Her clients lovingly nicknamed her the Biz Doctor, which is also the name of her podcast, because her superpower is helping seven-figure service-based entrepreneurs uncover what is keeping them stuck in the trenches of their business. Lauren is an expert at helping business owners diagnose the real root cause of their team and operational challenges so their business can sustainably and profitably scale without burning out. As a trusted advisor to some of the fastest growing businesses and Fortune 500 companies, Lauren's greatest asset for more than 12 years is helping business owners successfully transition from business operator to true business owner, from chief everything officer to powerful and effective CEO and leader. Welcome, Lauren.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What a great intro. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's all you. And welcome to our show. We appreciate you. And I'm just loving the topic. Get rid of all the hats, is what I heard.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes. So tell us about your journey in getting to the space where you are now.
Oh, wow. How far back do you want me to go?
I know it was a journey. I know it was. But
Yeah.
we definitely want to
So,
know, because this is definitely something that we all need. And, you know, I'm trying to get rid of hats as we speak. So tell us a little bit of how this started.
yeah. So the short version of this is I was in the medical field for a very long time. That was the life/hat I wore before, but I very quickly realized when we had a little baby come in, I was in pediatric neurology and epilepsy research. We had a baby come in that we treated. And then the insurance company came back and said, actually, we're not going to pay for the continued treatment. And I just had this heartbreaking moment, a realization that medicine is really, truly controlled by insurance companies instead of doctors being able to do what's best for their patients. And so I said, well, I think it's time for me to go. And I didn't have a plan B, which is very unusual for a super planner like myself. So I went to work for our family business, did various different odd jobs that I probably should have done when I was in college, but I was a little late to the party. And I remember, one breakfast basically crying in my grits, talking to my mentor about, I just had so much fulfillment in medicine. What am I going to do? How am I going to make my mark in this world and help people? And he looked at me, dead serious and said, I think you should be a consultant. Now, this was 12 years ago when being a consultant was not a cool thing to do. And most consultants worked for the Big Four. So I looked at him and I said, you're crazy. I don't know why you think that. Also, what is a consultant? And he said, I'm not, because most business owners, what they really need is an outside perspective. And the way that where your brain solves business challenges is very unique because it's similar to how we diagnose in the medical field. You have tiny humans and you're trying to figure out what is actually wrong. So you're not just treating surface level symptoms. He said that's a skill that most people don't have. And so I think you would be a really great business consultant. So long story long, I said, okay, I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to try it out. So I tried to do all the things. If a client was like, can you do this? I'd be like, I can't in this moment, but I'm going to go YouTube, learn it. I'll do it. I was always 1 or 2 steps ahead of my clients, which let's just say did not lead to a lot of sleep and ease. It ended with a lot of sleepless nights and stress. And so finally, the clearer and clearer I got that to build successful businesses, you as a business owner really need to dial in what you're focusing on and stop being that chief everything officer. Otherwise, you're going to always be stuck in the trenches of trying to do everything, and not to be offensive, a mediocre way, instead of actually having a team and operations to support you so you can work on the things that are your greatest strength. And so here we are 12 years later, and I'm the Biz Doctor, and it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like it. Wow, that's an amazing story. And taking the medical profession and translating those skills into a consulting business, that is clever.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what was you're talking about getting people to not wear all the hats. Where do you start? Where do you start? If you walk into a business and you see someone wearing all the hats, plus everybody else's hats, where do you start with them to de-hat?
I love this question. So where I start is actually with their vision, because what I found is most often when we start a business because we see this problem, we know we can solve it, and then we get so busy doing all the things that we get sucked in, and we don't actually think about the life that we're building, that this business is supposed to support. We're doing the opposite. We're trying to fit our life around this business that has now become a job. And so the first place I start is, what is the vision that you have for your business and your life? And how can the business support that vision instead of the other way around? Because if we don't know where we're going, there's many ways to go just about anywhere, and then wake up one day and go, oh, I didn't want to be, in Vienna. I wanted to be in Portugal. And so having the clarity of the destination of what they really want and what their business is providing for them is very important, because, some people want $1 million lifestyle businesses. Some people want $1 million businesses that they're going to sell. Some people want $1 million businesses that they want to run until they retire. So there's a lot of different things and components that come into how to build the best business for you. And so that's where we start first. And then there's many layers of diagnosis from there.
I would think so. Because some people look at their business as their baby. They have a problem with delegating. So that means the mindset throughout the whole process has to constantly change and accept different principles.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yes.
That element of change. Again, there's that question. You start a business one way, and some people get stuck there. That's where they're stuck. This was the original vision. Could you talk a little bit about making that change as the business change? Because the business will do what it's going to do, good, bad, or indifferent. How can someone work with themselves to allow their business to change? I guess that's the question.
So there's a couple of different ways, but the first, you alluded to it, is mindset. So if we think of our businesses as living, breathing things that are organisms that ebb and flow, then it's a lot easier to differentiate you from your business. But so often we tie our value, our worth, our fulfillment, all the things to our business. So then it becomes hard to change. But when you can see it as a vehicle to help your team, your clients, yourself have the lives that they want, then it becomes easier to change. And there's a very famous saying, if the rate of change outside your business is greater than the rate of change inside your business, you're out of business. And so to be a effective, successful business owner, you have to get really comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that you change things just to change things, but the most dangerous thing is, we're doing it because we've always done it that way, because that's almost never going to be something that's going to support you moving forward. So it comes down to making the decision to be coachable, to be flexible, to let go of control and trust that you can build the right team and operations to support you to bring that vision to life.
Okay. So it's like I said, it's mindset all the way. And business is that anyway.
Yep.
You've got to constantly be able to tweak your brain in
Mhm.
order to move in the direction towards your vision.
Mhm. You do, because your brain is constantly. So I didn't say this, but my degree is in cognitive neuroscience. So the brain is really my playground, and your brain is consistently trying to keep you stuck, not because it wants to keep you stuck, but it wants to keep you alive. And your brain thinks any sort of change equals death. So there's nothing more scary or more rewarding than having a business, but you have to be able to outsmart your brain on autopilot saying, don't put up that, blog post or offer or whatever, because you're going to die, because you're not going to die, but it might be uncomfortable. And so
Yeah.
getting comfortable with that uncomfortableness and riding the roller coaster of emotions that comes from being a business owner is crucial. And I sometimes remind my clients that, business is really just personal development with a paycheck.
I like that.
I like that a lot because, yeah, there's a lot of that. I recently had a conversation around that, being afraid to go forward. But one of the things that you have to learn is that who you are yourself and what your triggers are that make you go, I can't do this, or make you just want to run away. I think I've heard that what you were saying more than once, that we have a part of our brain that's all its job is to keep us safe. So whenever we face a challenge, that little part of the brain goes off and says, you're, like you said, you're going to die. If you do that, you're going to die. And unfortunately, that's the voice we're so used to hearing. And that's where mindset comes in, because you've got to change that. It's like, okay, I know you're afraid I'm going to die, but it's okay. I may get bruised a little bit, but I'm not going to die. So just chill. Go sit over there and calm down.
Yes.
I think there's also a component of, there's two things that come to mind. First, I don't know if you've heard of Mel Robbins and the 5-second rule, but I actually have it next to me. It says the moment you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and actually move your body. Otherwise, your brain will try and stop you. So that's one thing where we have to be very aware and proactive with not letting ourselves get in our own way. And then the second thing is, I think that there's, and I'm speaking for myself, because this is something that I really struggled with through my 12 years of business ownership. There's a component of perfection, or feeling like you need to be perfect, and worthiness, and sometimes imposter syndrome, where the more you know that you don't know everything. And I think that sometimes when we go to take that step and like hire the team or put the content out or launch the offer, whatever it might be, we worry that if it's not perfect, then somehow it's going to get rejected. And then that goes back to our brain, to bring this full circle. It equals death, because if you get exiled out of the tribe in prehistoric times, you died, right? And so there's this whole system in your brain that basically is trying to undercut you at any time, saying, don't do that, because it's going to, we're either going to die, or we're going to get shunned, or then we're going to die. And so it all comes back to, how can you help your brain see that it's safe? And so something that I do with a lot of my clients, and I actually do with myself, is little baby launch and learn. So the more comfortable you get with doing something messy or just putting it out imperfect, the more comfortable you'll get with that uncomfortable feeling. And then you'll actually start to feel uncomfortable when you get into like the lull of complacency.
Wow. I like your approach, Lauren.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really
Definitely.
do. I mean, it's been said different ways, but your approach is definitely doable and
Mhm.
definitely makes a whole lot of sense for sure.
Mm.
So if
Yeah.
people want to work with you, how do they do so?
So if people want to work with me, there's a couple of different options. Speaking of hats, one hat that I wear is fractional COO. So I do come into companies when you want that done for you, second in command, like really get in there and get stuff done. One of my most favorite services though is our Golden Key Advisory, where I basically ride shotgun with you and help you get into the habits, change the mindset, support um, and really give you the container of accountability, strategy, and leadership to effectively get out of the trenches and stay there. Because it's kind of like a yo-yo diet. I've seen many business owners when they don't have the accountability and someone like me to talk to, advise, ping pong partner with, then they get scared and they're like, oh no, I'm not doing enough in the business. I don't have value. I got to go get involved again. And then that creates chaos. Sometimes we call those seagull leaders. I don't know if you have an explicit warning, so I'll censor it, but essentially a seagull leader is somebody who comes in and poops all over everything and then flies away. So we don't want to have that. And so that's why I created the advisory, so you can get comfortable with the uncomfortableness of actually being an owner, which does look and feel and act differently than being an operator in the trenches. And then of course we have our signature diagnostics, which are very fun for me to help you really uncover what's keeping you stuck or what your team gaps are. We have a team diagnostic or a full business diagnostic. So there's lots of ways that you can come into my office and tune up your business.
Wow. And you look
Yeah.
like you sound like you dig deep too. I
Yeah.
mean, really deep. It's definitely
We
not superficial surface.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, we really, and I mean that comes back to my experience in the medical field and honestly just what I saw in those first few years. A lot of times I saw consultants come in and say, well, this, you said you have this problem, so let's solve it. And it's funny how many times I'll have a client come in and say, this is our problem. And I'll say, okay. And we'll take it and set it on the side, and then we'll do the diagnostic. And then they'll realize that that was just a symptom of a much different problem.
Mhm.
And for me, my goal is helping entrepreneurs have true entrepreneurial freedom, which means having a business that makes an impact that is fulfilling to the clients, to the team, to them, and having the flexibility to actually have a life and live life. And so you can only do that if you actually get to the root of like what the friction points are, what the concentrated risks are, revenue cliffs, all the things that might look independent, but are all connected when you look at the different workings of your business.
Wow.
So what would be one of the root causes that you find in a business? They come in with a problem
Mm-hmm.
that they think is the problem. When you start digging down, what is one of the root causes that you often find?
I would say the number one root cause is actually the first of, I have a framework called the 7 C's of a high performing team. And so the first C is clarity. I would say so often that is the root cause of they either don't have clarity on where they're going, what they want, their team, and the roles within the team or what people are accountable to. And if you don't have the clarity, then it just becomes kind of the blind leading the blind where you're throwing spaghetti at the wall. But with our Golden Key scorecard, which is very helpful for clarity, it's basically like a GPS dashboard for your team and their roles. When you have the clarity of the people on your team and how they fit into the company, their mission, what their one thing is, what the problem is they solve, what they're held accountable to, then all of a sudden it shores up all these team inefficiencies, revenue leaks, frustrations, miscommunications, because everyone is super clear about where they're going, how they're contributing, what they're accountable to. And it doesn't mean, it doesn't matter if you have a team of 3 or like one of my clients right now is a team of 160. It all starts with clarity. And if you, the business owner, don't actually know your mission and your vision and where you want to go, it's very hard to ever get to the point where you can scale your business.
Wow.
I have one more question. I promise this is my last one.
It's okay. I'm here for it.
How often should an organization take a look at their vision or mission and really dive into it and perhaps change it or tweak it?
Ooh, that is a very juicy question. So I like to think that your mission and vision are your North Stars. So the only time that I would recommend changing them, like you should revisit them to rekindle and keep them top of mind. But in terms of changing, I would recommend that you only change them when significant events have occurred, whether that's a significant change in how you work with your customers, or, what we saw when the world shut down and supply chains changed, and then how people bought changed. Like if something significant is happening within your business that you're seeing happen over and over again, then that could be a time to revisit. But I do see entrepreneurs sometimes not being able to differentiate between noise and an actual signal of something. And so if you have those 2 North Stars, then you can help clear away the noise. But just because something has happened and you see that like blip on your radar doesn't mean you should necessarily go and readjust everything, because as your business grows, it should get more simple, not more complicated. So the less change you can make to the structure, the better, because then that allows the flow of the business to go where it needs to go. It's kind of like if you think of the Grand Canyon, like the Grand Canyon doesn't really change. What changes is the rise and flow of the river. And that's the same for a business. When you have the operational and team support, then it can ebb and flow and still be consistent and sustainable and healthy.
I like it. I like that. Wow. Lauren, we definitely going to have you come back, because
I would love that.
This is so, you got me ticking, and it makes you go inner. It makes you really start to do some inside work.
Yeah.
As humans, we should all be doing that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And Lord knows, as an entrepreneur, we really have to do it on a regular basis, for sure.
You really, really do, because if you don't address the things that are, keeping you up at night outside your business, they will impact your business and vice versa. So it's definitely important.
So again, how do people connect with you and, get your support?
Well, I would say the first place that you can go, since I'm already in your ear, or you're already watching this, go to my podcast, The Biz Doctor. I share a lot of insights and tools and frameworks and mindset shifts, leadership shifts, etc. Even productivity hacks there. So the Biz Doctor podcast, go subscribe, listen there. And then you can always hop over to our website, goldenkeypartnership.com. I've got a lot of great resources there. You can also download the scorecard that I alluded to. It's one of our most downloaded, most impactful free resources for teams. It's got an intro video how-to. It's very simple. Or you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, all the places. I am an elder millennial, so I might not get back to you as fast as some of these younger generations, but I do play on the interwebs.
Very good.
Wow. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing with our audience. We truly appreciate you. And I know this is some good food for thought, because we always have to be working from the inside out all the time.
Mhm.
And it's
We do.
refreshing to have somebody take you there in your business. For sure.
Mm. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, speaking of inner work, to go back to the scorecard really quick before we wrap up, the scorecard has our 7 C's, and it also helps you do that introspection that will help you level up your team, your business, even if you are, you know, a very small team. So you can get it at goldenkeypartnership.com/scorecard. But yeah, it is inner work for sure. So thanks so much for having me. This has been a pleasure, and I'd love to come back and chat more about this. I could chat about it for ages.
Oh, wonderful.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate you, my dear.
Yes,
Of
thank you.
course, of course. Thank you.